Hello, everybody. This is Sam, and we are continuing our MUMPS Paideia 301 MUMPS introductory MUMPS class. So today's lesson plan is actually exciting because I think, hopefully, at the end of today, we're gonna start talking about globals, and that's a pretty important subject. But we're gonna cover the set command today. More fun, different ways to do it that we haven't covered before. We're going to cover extended versions of the write command, the read command, and we're going to cover the kill command, which some of you are already familiar with from some of the emails we got on the list. And the next things we're gonna cover is we're gonna cover mumps and subscripts and then globals. And I hope we're actually gonna make it to cover all these subjects. And your homework is a very simple homework actually, and it's actually I think you're gonna like it. So let's I'll from here let's actually go and review last week's homeworks. And last week's homework, I've had we've had several people not do it yet. So, but for now, I've gotten two routine. I've had three good routines that were done for it, and I'm going to show two today. The one I'm not gonna show is Tony's because his routine is over elaborate, which I like. But I'm making him a teacher's pet, so I don't want him to get beaten up. So let's move on. And the first one I'm going to show is Manohar's routine. And I've not tested these routines actually prior to doing the class. I just looked at them. So I just want to show you what he did. So I guess the most important line is this. All right. So the most important line is this, and this is the thing to pay attention to. And look at that pattern match. Isn't it impressive? It's pretty cute. So, so here we have this extended pattern which says if the number matches one of either a plus or an empty string, and then one of a one or one of an empty string, or one of zero numbers, three numbers, or one of paren, three numbers, one paren. And then you could see how it goes on and on and on and on and on. But I like the fact that he used parentheses in order to say whether numbers match different formats. So let's actually give it a try. So let me print this for our notes. Zprint. Actually, it's already in our screen session, so never mind. So all right, so let's try. What's our office number, Linda?
206
206 632
0166.
0166. All right. 206 632 0166. Oh, it did not like that. Oops. Huh? Oh, it did. Okay, sorry. Oh, it's just asking me again. Never mind. Sorry, guys. Okay, it's fine. It did like it. And then, of course, it will take. All right, good, good. Oh, okay. Now, I guess, would it do this? 6320166. Okay, it like this. Oops. And but it does not take any other delimiters besides. I already forgot our number. That's okay. It doesn't like any other delimiters besides the dash. So that's a little tiny problem with this routine. And the other thing I notice is that it does not let you put spaces in. Of course you can add it. That's okay. That's why we never let programmers test their own code. They always gonna be charitable to their code. All right, that doesn't work. Okay, so oh yeah, we had quit. All right, good job. Good job. Was it? Sorry. Which one was it? Sorry, Manoj and Manohar. Your names are close together. Manoj. All right, here you go. All right, very good. So, um, this is this is actually the first. This is the first homework that was of note. The second one is a bit of an interesting take, and it's Tom Heller's homework. So let's. Um, Somebody's coughing in the mic. Would you mind muting? All right. So, uh, this is Tom Heller's routine, and it's pretty cool. But you notice that. Let's see. He does he does a match of uh, he does a match based on. This is pretty cool, actually. He does a match based on. He then tries to figure out. He figures out is it 10 numbers? Then it's fine. Otherwise, go to convert. And so we're gonna take a look at convert. And convert is. Oh, look at that! He converts numbers to letters. That's really nice. You see? And then he goes to write, and he, he writes it out using the formatting. Now let's see if I actually put parentheses in it. What will happen? Oh, look at this. Hello, everybody. Do you hear me now? All right, fantastic. My God, I don't know what happened. Okay. All right. So back to our routine, and I see what Tom did here, and he removed non-character. So, um, it, all right. That's the way I would call Tom's solution is that it's not exactly in the spirit of my homework, which is validate try to do it using a pattern, but it will definitely work fine, and it has extra features moreover. So including dollar translate, which is really clever. All right, so. All right, that worked. Oh, oops. Yeah, the person who has kids in the background, can you please mute? Not sure who that is. Yeah, it looks like that took care of it. Thank you. So, okay. Oh, no problem. So, look. Uh-oh, Tom, look what happened. I'm in an infinite loop. All your fault. It's looping at this line. So let's say what this line says, right? Dollar text of this line. I haven't taught you dollar text, but you could see what it tells you. Really, that does not make any sense. Oh, maybe it's the line after it. Okay, if if tn equals 1, go to nv. So there's a loop. All right, that's okay. So all we have to do to break your program is give it something that's small. it's, a, it's a dreaded goto command. Ted, you're absolutely right. That's what the goto command does. But, by the way, for loops also give you the same problem. They could loop endlessly too. So, just want to show you what I typed. When I type z show, I show the stack of the routine. So we're not gonna cover the stack yet, but we're gonna cover it later. So, in any case, let's just go ahead. Zgoto blows away the stack, and now we don't have a stack left. So now I'm just gonna do z. We want to just print out the routine, and here it is. Okay, so we'll have it for our screen session. All right, so let's talk today. We're gonna talk today about the let's see a few things, and then we're going to cover set right, and then we're going to cover globals, hopefully. So let's get started. So the first subject we're going to cover today is something that's called, let me type this, something that's called the post conditional. And all right, so I want to show you what the post conditional is. So the post conditional, I'm going to move my cursor. Now, you're noticing that I'm moving my cursor. Do you see my cursor move, Linda? Yes, you see it. And you see where I highlight that colon over here? That's called a post conditional. Now, a post conditional, what it does essentially is that it it tells you don't execute this command except if this condition is met. And it's used very pervasively around, in MUMPS. And think of it as an if statement without you having to say, without you having to type if. So, and it does not trigger the logic that invokes the else command. So essentially a post condition is just a colon and you apply it in several ways. So I just showed you an example and you're going to notice that it's actually all over Vista. So let's give it a try. And we're going to say write. No, let's say set x equal to 5. Now I'm going to say write if x equal to 5, hello. And this translates into write if x equals 5. All right. Um, this is the general way that post conditionals work, and they work on every single mumps command. So this is the other important point. So, um, so let's try it again. If we write x equal 4, hello, will I see the hello or not? Actually, shouldn't. And I don't. So that's good. So that's essentially the post conditional. So that's all there is to it. There is a twist though, unfortunately. There is what I call the post conditional. Now the post conditional only applies to 3 commands: do, go to, and execute. Execute. All right, here we go. So this one this one means you can put a conditional on arguments to say whether an argument can be executed. All right. Now, an example of the post conditional, I would call it the post conditional, is this command up here in the initialization routine of fileman. So, um, you're probably asking, what the hell is this? And you're absolutely right. This is one of the most confusing ways it's one of the most confusing ways you could write a line of mumps code for beginners. So what this says is we're gonna focus on this part first. All right, dollar $get just it tries to test if a variable is there. Sorry, that's my phone. I'll turn it off. Um, dollar get, which we haven't covered yet, it just tests if a variable exists. So that's not the we're gonna see if it we're gonna cover it more in detail in another class. But the next thing is the one that's interesting and that I haven't taught you yet, and today is a good time to learn about it. That it's this sign. So it's this is the left. This is actually is it the left? No, it's the right bracket. It's the right bracket. This means follows, and it almost. I'm gonna tell you almost all of the code in Vista does not use it as follows. It's never, almost never used as follows. So let's write this down. So, so the big question, why is it even used? So the only reason that it's actually used in Vista code and in general in MUMPS code is that in the older days, you know, when you had to when you had to write your routine size could only be 1,000 to 2,000 characters. Saving characters was really valuable, and this is the same. Actually doing this is the same as not equal to empty string. So follows empty string is the same as not equal. All right. So the code here, the code here is too clever for its own good, unfortunately, and you sometimes want to choke the people who wrote that code. In this case, this means equal to the empty string. Believe it or not. Now, I don't have a clue why the programmer did it this way, but you sometimes see it, and it's. Uh, I I actually asked George Timson, why did you write this? And George is very sensitive about if I tell him about if he wrote any code or not. He tells me I did not write that, and he absolutely disclaims having written this code. So. Whoever wrote it was just trying to be too clever, and there's really no reason for us to do it this way. So what this command does is that it says, if we analyze it all the way through, it says go to, let's translate it now. This means go to QQ if di.84, 0 is empty. And that's it. So that's this entire line. But the important part about this entire line and why we actually went into this discursion in the first place is the fact that QQ has a condition on the argument, which means that it's not go to of this QQ, which would have worked as well, by the way, for our purposes, for this line, it would have worked, but it's actually go to, it's actually go to QQ based on the argument. So I feel I need to enforce this a little more, so I'm going to make a little routine, and we're gonna cover it. We're gonna do it pretty quickly, and I just want to show you how it's gonna work. So let me actually go into the VPE. Oh, oh, we have this problem again. We had this problem before. So let me just get out and go back in. All right. So never mind. I'm just gonna use my other editor, and we're gonna call it a day on that one. So my namespace is Z00, and I'm gonna let's just call this post C. Whoops. I'm not typing. Huh? It is weird. We had this problem before, do you remember? I think we did, but I'm just not sure what happened. Why did it stop typing? It is weird. Yeah, I think I'm just gonna have to delete this session, cancel this session, and get out again. So, uh, yeah, I'm trying to figure out. It's not even letting me out now. Control A colon. It's not. Wow. Okay, guys. In that case, don't worry. I have a way to fix this. Yeah, you're right. So tell me about it. PS.fc moms. Oh, sorry, not mom. Oh, that's weird. All right. So I have. Let me see if I could kill my session now and see if it's gonna do the trick. All right. Now I just killed my screen session. Let me see what happened to it. Okay, good. So now it says detached. So you should, Linda, has it killed you off? No, huh? That's not good. All right, so I have another idea as well. So Linda still cannot get out, and I presume that all applies to every one of you. So, uh, yeah, Control A and D still doesn't work. Well, yeah, I just killed off everybody. I killed off everybody. So what I'm gonna do now is I'm gonna type screen, and you could type screen minus x Sam. I just joined. Sam slash. Okay, good. All right, so I'm sorry about that, but let's hope that it works out this time. Tom, you're absolutely right. Gremlins have just taken up the computer. Who knows why that happened? So hopefully VPE will work now. Actually, here we go. All right, so here we go. Z00, and I called it what? I'm trying to remember. Post C. Thank you. All right, so here we go. Post conditionals. So, first, whoops. So first thing we're gonna do is we're gonna do a simple test. So set x equal 1 and set y equal to 0. And what we're gonna do is write if x post conditional passed. And then we're gonna do write if y post conditional passed. And then this is the post conditional. So now we're gonna do, let's actually scroll up and I'm gonna do write post conditional. I should not abbreviate, should I? Write post conditional tests. All right. Then the next one is, oh, hold on. I always forget this. Here we go. New line. And then we're gonna say write new line, and we're gonna, the next thing we're gonna do is we're gonna say write post conditionals, conditional tests. And in order to make post conditional tests, I'm gonna make a label called 1. Write 1 quit. I'm gonna make a label. Oops. Sorry guys. Escape D to delete a line and hit enter and say 2, write 2 quit. And oh, wrong line again. 3, write 3 quit. So I'm used to Vim, guys. Sorry. Here we go. Now we're gonna do go to. Actually, I probably don't want to do go to, do I? Because it's gonna get me out and we're gonna quit. And so let's do instead. Well, it would be a good lesson at least in what do does. So we're gonna do 1 if x, 2 if y, and then oh, actually, let's just. All right. So, who wants to guess what the output is going to be for the post conditional test? Anybody? Okay, so Linda says it's going to be 1. So let's walk through it. Let's walk through it carefully. It says do if x, and then if the x is true, it's gonna do the rest of this line, and then it's gonna say 1 if x, and then 2 if y. And so we know that x is true, therefore it's gonna run 1, and then 2 is y, but y is 0, so it's not gonna write the 2. And then do if y is gonna run the 3, and then it should quit. But y is not true, so do if y will never run. All right, let's go ahead and save it. I did. Thank you, Douglas. Did I leave a line blank? I did leave a line blank. Thank you, Douglas. No, I can't. But no, actually, yes, I can, but only in this editor. I don't want to explain why now. But normally you should put a semicolon. All right, so as Linda said, it's just a 1. So now let me just explain it again, because this is it's a bit hard. So oops, sorry. So what this does is that if x, do 1 only if x, then do y, do 2 only if y. If the first condition is false, the rest doesn't execute. That's important. So because the gatekeeper is the x, then the rest of the line will not execute. This is a simpler format, and if y, do 3. Okay. Let me stop here and ask if anybody has any questions about this, or if you need time for it to sink in. And we're gonna cover it again, but I just want to let you know that it's a bit confusing. But this is, you sometimes see this code, and you might want to practice a little bit on your homework. Okay, let me explain it again. So, if I do this, do condition 1 ABC. I'll explain it with different variables. Maybe that will take. Maybe that will DEF condition 2. A B C D E F G H I. All right. So I just wrote this, and I want to explain it to you. So if condition 1 is true, then run the following. ABC only if condition 2 is true, DEF only if condition 3 is true, and GHI always. Okay, I'm pausing here. Does anybody have any questions about this? All right, so the next thing I want to say, if condition 1 is false, none of the rest actually runs. All right, does that make sense now? Okay, good. So essentially then, I want you to, in your homework, in the homework for today, I'm going to ask you to make a menu system. And the menu system, you could actually use this format in order to make the menu system. And it's a good way for you to practice this. As far as how often are you going to see crazy constructions like this in VISTA code, the answer is not often. But when you do see it, you need to know what it is. All right, so that's this topic, the conditional, the post-conditional, and the post-conditional. So the next thing I'm going to cover is the set command, and I'm going to cover various formats for the set command that we have not covered before. So the first format for the set command I want to cover is the multiple set. So set x comma y equal to 1 means set both x and y to 1. Okay. Now, some of you from the Python world might be wondering, can I say set x equal y equal 1 comma 2? The answer is no. You cannot do that. Okay, so that's that, and that's all I wanted to talk about in that topic. Now, set has two other formats, and these are really important. So, remember we had Mary had a little lamb in a string, and we used to manipulate it. So let's say $. The next topic is $piece and $x extract set. So set x equal Mary has a little lamb. And we said, we write $piece of x comma space comma 3. So who wants to guess what's the third piece? Okay, that's correct. It's just an A. So rather than writing something, I can do this too. Set $piece of x comma. Look what just happened. So I just told MUMPS, oh, go ahead, don't just don't just set a variable, don't just write the variable, the dollar piece, but set it. And it basically went in and set that variable. So that's pretty cool. You could do the same thing with dollar extract. Now, if you remember, you can write dollar extract like this, write dollar extract. And if you do the two argument form, you could say I want the fourth letter of and the fourth letter is Y. So I could say set dollar extract of x comma 4 equal I. And let's write x. And look what just happened. Okay. So, time for us to talk about a little Vista thing, and we're going to become Vista specific for a moment here. Can you use length in this way too? No, Ted, you cannot use length because length always gives you the number, and remember, dollar piece and dollar extract give you parts of the string, whereas dollar length just gives you a count. So it can't. There's no way for us to use dollar length to modify it. So, a little Vista thing. Now, if you may remember, or you may know that the fileman access code that gives you access to all the Vista files is, who wants to tell me? That's correct. Now, unfortunately, nobody can actually set the @ from the user menu. So in order to get the @ which is actually the you see the @ here, that person actually has it. Let me move my cursor and move it towards the @. Do you see my cursor now is on the @? So let me all right, so let's see. So we have a lot of users here, and what I want to do is, you could see that Ben Mailing does not have the @, but whereas David Witten has the @. So the big question is, how do I give Ben Mailing the @? So the way you do this is you could say set $piece of Ben Mailing's entry. Then you could say it's the up caret, which is the delimiter, which is always the delimiter in FileMan. And you could say that the fourth piece equals @. Here you go. Ben Mailing just got the @. And if we write his entry again, he has the @. Now that is the only way to give a user the @ in Vista. Now, for anybody familiar with Vista, that's how you do it. That's it. And you could see the only way you do it is this. Now, why is it so hard? Well, the reason is, if you don't know how you give it to yourself, you should not have it. All right. So that concludes our set command. So our next thing we're gonna cover, and this is very brief. We're only gonna cover a little something in the. We're gonna cover the write command very briefly, and so All right. So what I showed you before, I showed you before how to use the right command. Then I showed you how to use a question mark for to format your text, and I showed you how to do a new line to, excuse me, an exclamation mark for a new line, and I showed you how to do a pound sign for to clear the screen. But there are some system level rights which you're not allowed to use in Vista, but just in case, I'm going to tell them to you so you know what they are. So it's called the right star. And if you write star 65, it writes the letter A. So star means that it's going to give you the ASCII character of the next thing that you're typing. So 65 is the ASCII number for the letter A. So most of the time you never see this in Vista except in the device handler, and if you were editing the device file and you're editing PCL commands that go to the printer, you sometimes see this format. So um, most of the time, I recommend that if you're gonna write code involving the star, you should write it like this. You should write $C 65 rather than star 65. So write star. All right. So there is one exception where you have to use this. And to be honest, I have never ever seen a good reason to use it. But Cache has something called write. All right. This is just cache stuff that Cache has, and it has to do with if you're writing a server in MUMPS and you're on a TCP connection. That's when you're gonna actually use these. But to be honest, uh, I have I have always found out that Cache you can always substitute both of these by right exclamation mark. It's the same pretty much. So you don't have to worry about it. And I'm just telling you that it exists out there, but you never have to use it. Okay, so that's the only thing I want to say about write. So the next command we want to cover is the read command. So the first format we're going to cover is read pound, which is length read. So if we do read x3, what will happen is that it's going to stick here until I type 3 characters and it's going to stop. So that's the pound read. Now the next thing is read colon, which is timed read. So that's done this way. So read x colon 3. So basically, it's gonna wait for 1, 2, 3, and it says, okay, I did not read anything. Linda, did I cover $test in my if and else class or not? You remember? I don't think so. Okay, good. All right. So, all right. Well, I guess now is a good time as any, and let's talk about. So, we've just seen the colon being used on commands in command as post-conditional, but the colon has another important function. So colon, and that function is on open, lock, and read commands. It functions as a timeout. So this is important. So when you see a colon, it doesn't always mean a postconditional. It could also mean a timeout, and that timeout only happens with these commands. So the rule is, if you see colon on do or go to on the argument, it's a postconditional. If you see it on open, lock, and read, it's a timeout. Okay, so the thing I want to say about timeouts, and I actually just asked Linda about whether I covered dollar test or not, is that you whenever you actually time out, it sets dollar test to equal to false, which is 0. So let's do this, and I'm not going to enter anything. So now write dollar test. So it's false. Now let's read it again. And I'm going to type something. And then write dollar test. And dollar test, oh, still false. Hold on a moment. That does not make any sense. Oh, because I did not hit enter. That's why. I have to hit enter, otherwise it's a timeout. Here you go. Now it's true. Now, this is the only way for you to know whether a timeout happened or not. So, I want to know, let's see. Should I cover it today? I might as well cover it today. Okay, what is dollar test? Thank you, Manohar. I guess I'll cover that today. Dollar test is actually what if and else use. Is that shocking to anybody? So if 1 and I write dollar test, it's going to be 1. And if I say if 0, which is if false, write dollar test, it's 0. So so in MUMPS, dollar test gets set by if statement and timeouts. Else only executes if dollar test is false. So this is I know this is a bit hard to understand right now, so I'm not I think what I'm gonna say for now is it's something that you need to digest, and you need to actually keep trying at home. You could try the if and then write dollar test, and you could try the else and if dollar test. So I'll just give you an easy example. If 1 else write hello. Okay, that it does not write hello. If 0 else write hello. And it does write hello. Now, by the same token, if I read x:3 And then I say else write nothing red until space. Thank you, Linda. Look what happens. I'm not entering anything, and it says nothing red. But if I actually do this and type ABC and hit enter, I don't get the else does not execute. So um, in Vista Code, it depending on how good the programmer is with Vista that actually wrote the code, you might see the following. You should see, sometimes you see this actually. If not $test, write nothing red. And some people do that. I personally don't have any, I don't think there's any reason for you to actually write that in Vista. You could just do the following. You could just change this to say else write nothing red. And if you do, and if you don't do anything, you just end up with the else getting executed. So this is a sort of a little bit of advanced mumps than I actually wanted to get into today, but since we're covering timeout today, we might as well cover it. So but we're gonna cover it more in the future, so you don't have to worry if you don't understand it totally today. So so read can combine pound and colon. So you could say read X 3 characters long, wait for 5 seconds. So if I type ABC and I write $test, it should be true because I typed ABC. But if I do this and wait, nothing happens. Write $test, and it's going to tell you it's 0. Now, of note that I want to mention is the fact that if you make any direct read in Vista, and you usually shouldn't, but if you do in any one of your routines, you have to put a timeout. So let me write this down. According to SAC, if you do a direct read from a user, you need to put a timeout. By the way, default, I just need to mention, default timeout is 500, no, it's 300 seconds. All right. So that's that makes us finish we just finished discussing the read pound and read colon. Does anybody have any questions about this right now? All right. So moving on, the other thing that we're going to cover for the read command is called read star. So we don't call it read asterisk, we call it read star. Can we reset dtime? The answer about dtime is that it's set by the kernel and you're not supposed to change it. You can change it per user, by the way. There's a user setting for each user, which you could give them a separate timeout. So the kernel will look first in the kernel parameters, then the user. And if the user doesn't have an entry, then it's going to use the one in the kernel. All right. So let's talk about read star. Read star, it's not. Read star is not. What's the word I want to use? Userland code. Only the kernel and fileman are allowed to use it. Read star allows you to read control characters from the screen. So I'm gonna give you an example. Read star X, and I'm gonna press the letter A. I'm gonna write X, and you're gonna see that X is 65. So X65 is the character for A. So you might think that's not that useful. Well, sure it isn't, but it has its uses. The only use we usually have for read star is when you press the escape button, F1, F2, and so on. So let me just write this. Read star X reads any keyboard press and gets you the ASCII code. All right, so I'm gonna give you more examples with read star X. So let's read star X, and then I'm gonna press escape. All right, I just pressed escape. Who wants to guess what X is gonna be now? Oh, Linda's looking it up. That's all right. You don't have to look it up. I'll tell you. Nope. Escape is it's gonna actually get that character, the ASCII code for escape. I pressed escape on the keyboard. So X is going to be 27. Here you go. All right. So I'm gonna try another one. Read star X, and I'm gonna press Control F. Who wants to tell me what Control F sent to the screen? This is a let's see how many of you are hardcore C programmers. All right. Um, I'm gonna give you the secret code for control. So control at is 0. Control A is 1. Control B is 2, and so on. So C is 3. 4 is actually C is 3. D is 4. E is 5. F is supposed to be 6. Is X gonna be 6? Right, X? Yes, it is! So, all right. So, this, if you are a regular VISTA programmer, you almost never, actually, you never, it's actually disallowed by the SAC. You never use this format. The only two packages that use the star X are the kernel and fileman. So star X, star read is only used by the kernel and fileman. So that actually just covers out everything that we have to say about the read command. So that actually ends it. So that's correct, Linda. Thank you. All right. So our next topic is going to be mumps and subscripts and mumps and globals. So let's talk about globals. Now, the last time we talked about globals, it was our first class, and I told you that that a global variable is actually stored on disk. So now let's actually think of it programmatically. So programmatically, what globals are is they are, let's do set ZZ00 Z00, which is my namespace, Z00 Sam equal 1. Right, Z00 Sam. This is a local variable. Set up caret Z00 Sam equal 1. Right, up caret Z00 Sam. Okay, just by me putting an up caret in front of the local variable name, I just created a global variable. It's that simple. Okay, so now let's talk about what confuses every person who begins in MUMPS. All right, I am gonna pick a routine at random. Oh, good question, Linda. Are you doing this to tease me? She is. Okay, okay. Routines are not global variables, Linda. So, um, So let me explain to you how this works. I showed you a routine on your screen, and we're gonna look at some things in it pretty carefully. So you see when you say do intro up caret xus1a, that up caret means you're referencing a routine. Look at this kill command, which we haven't covered yet. We're gonna cover it soon enough, but it says kill up caret xutl. So, in fact, you could have said do up caret xutl and rather than a kill. So the big question is, what the hell does the up caret mean? Well, it gets confusing, but this is something that a person who begins mumps always finds difficult. And so if up caret is in the argument of a go to or a do, it's a routine. If up caret is in the argument of most other commands, it's a global. All right. So this is a very common beginner issue whenever whenever you read mumps code and you're looking at new code, you're looking at code and you can't tell what's a routine and what's a global. And the way you could tell them out is that if it's a go to or a do, it's a routine. And if it's if it's on most other commands, then it's actually a global. Now, I remember I just actually noticed I said most. I did not say all other commands. Why is that? Well, because um, we have one command that's special out of all the other commands. That's the lock command. And the lock command accepts, the lock command is the exception. But all I'm going to tell you for today is that the up caret in a lock refers neither to a routine nor to a global. Yeah. All right. You're gonna say, "Oh my God, that's really hard." You're right. It is hard. So you basically have to. What I would encourage you to do, uh, maybe I'll assign this as another homework, is open any routine in Vista. Pick one, anyone at random, or even in VPE, by the way. And uh, all actually, yeah, and on your Paideia environment, we only have VPE and routines. So I will tell you, just open any one of those routines and take a look at it and see if you could tell global up carrots from routine up carrots apart. It's really important that you get practice telling them apart. Thank you. Linda asked, how do you find a routine in VPE? GTM has a utility and Cache has the same utility. It's called upcaret%RD. So um, to find routines in your environment, type type do upcaret%RD. So I'm just gonna give you a little example. So I'm gonna tell it anything that starts with anything that's you could type star and it's gonna give you every single routine, but I don't wanna do that in this environment because in this environment is actually 7 years old. Vista at that time has 22,000 routines. Now it's closer to 30,000 routines. So let's just say I'm gonna say percent %d star, and these are basically the commands that we have that start with percent %d. So if you just type star, you're gonna get everything. So I just want to get out of here. Here we go. Shoo. So by the same token, by the way, to find globals in your environment, you do upcaret% GD. And Vista has only about 113 globals, so I could list them all. Here you go. That's it. That's all of the Vista globals. 455. Okay, sorry, I was off. So you have to take my global that I just created off of the equation, but that's okay. So this is let's so let's just think about this a little bit. No, I have to think about it a little bit. You guys are okay. Let me see how much time I have left and what am I gonna give you right now. I wanted to cover the kill command briefly and the zwrite command. So let's do this. So let me cover the zwrite command, and zwrite is actually not allowed to be used in your routines. It's only allowed to be used as a debugging tool. So I'm gonna get out and I'm gonna go back into mumps and I'm gonna type zwrite and hit enter, and it's gonna be empty. So I'm gonna say set x equal 1. I'm gonna say zwrite. Look at that. So what zwrite does is that it actually gives you a chance to take to see everything that's currently in your environment that you set. So it lets you see your local variables. So the special thing about zwrite is that zwrite can also let you see other variables like globals if you tell it to. but not today. We're gonna cover that later. So let's ZRite let's gives you an opportunity to know what you currently have in your symbol table, and you could use it for debugging and routines, but you should never have a routine that contains a ZRite, because that's not a standard mumps command. It's essentially just a debugging command. So if I say kill X, and a few people have started using the kill command, and I type do ZRite, you'll notice that X is not in my local table anymore. So just a nomenclature thing, list of local variables in MUMPS is called the symbol table. All right. So if anybody ever tells you, oh my God, your variable is not in the symbol table, or the routine is crashing because the variable is not in the symbol table, it basically means that your routine is crashing because it's not currently defined in your current if in your current process. So let's the last thing I want to cover before giving you the homework is the following. Um, remember, I set a global. It's called Z00SAM, and it's still set to 1. But if you remember, I also had a local variable called Z00SAM. Does anybody think we're going to find it? Answer is no. It's not there anymore. So the important thing about globals that we covered it is that so any saved global variables are stored on disk, and they are available between processes. To remove a global from disk, use the kill command, but be very careful with the kill command with globals. All right, that's really important. Really important. You have no idea how important, because you essentially could wipe your VISTA database out with a single command. Remember, I showed you a list of the VISTA globals that we just passed through up top, and let's scroll through them. So you see all of these globals. Now I'm gonna point to you where the patient data is stored. So where is it? Okay, I'm gonna tell you a few important globals. DI contains file man. DIC contains the list of files. DPT contains the list of patients, and there's one down here. Upcarried VA contains the list of users. If you kill a global, excuse me, if you kill a global, that global is just removed from disk. So that's why actually cache has a setting which disallows you. Okay, good. Thomas Heller is there on undo. Uh, in if you have a development environment, most development environments don't have an undo except the backup. So you have to go back to your backup. So no undo. But production environment, what do they do in order to protect? what do they do in order to protect against this? Yes, replication. So there's backup. No, actually, back replication does not protect you, Jignesh, because whatever you type in the first environment gets replicated to the second environment, so it kills it off in the other one. So it's backup and journaling, but you have to edit the journal. So generally, it's you would use the backup and you would use journaling. And the cache has a feature that's not in GTM that can prevent you from killing naked globals. So cache will actually prevent you. So let me show you just now that I gave you everything about killing globals, and basically I'm gonna kill up caret 000 Sam. All right, now if I write up caret z00 Sam, it's gonna say global variable undefined because it doesn't exist. So your homework today then. So you're gonna have two assignments. You're gonna have to pick a routine and tell me what it is. So you're gonna have to tell me what that routine is and read it and see if you can. I don't want this to scroll, to see if you can identify which up carets refers to globals versus routines. And homework 2 is an actual assignment. Using a global variable in your namespace, create a routine that will display a menu of 3 options. One to increment your global, which is add 1. One to decrement your global, subtract 1. One to quit. Make sure to tell the user the current number each time you run the menu. Okay. Any questions about the homework? All right. So this homework's level of difficulty is last week's homework was actually very easy. This one, algorithmically speaking, it's about from easy to medium, because you're gonna have to figure out how to write a menu and how to make sure you actually display the menu every time and get the user out. And you can use, I would tell you, when you're writing a menu, you probably want to use the goto command for now, and you're going to use goto to do the addition to the global and the subtraction from the global. When you start off, by the way, when I said that a global has to be in your namespace, it means that, yeah, for Alice, for example, she could call it z01 count, actually up caret That's gonna be her global name. You could call it whatever you want as long as you stay in your namespace, which is the number we assigned you. And basically, that homework will let you actually exercise post conditionals if you want to, and it will let you exercise some knowledge of globals. And by you can learn. I told you about Zeroite for uh, the symbol table. So like this, but you can also zeroite globals like this. If you type z00 count, it's not doesn't exist. But if you type this, oh, sorry, equal 1, it will show you the global. Okay, and remember, zeroite is just for debugging. You can't have production code that contains zeroites. But I'm just your students. You're allowed to use zeroites as much as you want, actually. All right. So, any questions before we close the class? Nope. All right. So we will see you all next week, and the week after that we're gonna have the Vista Expo, which our company is putting on in Seattle. I will still try to make the class for that in the expo. So we're gonna have classes continuously from now on, hopefully. All right. That's it. Thank you all.